Hey everybody, Life's Journey at 50 here. So as you can see, I have a bunch of tires here. So you kind of know I deal with MotoZ, ride MotoZ, and actually they're a supporter of the channel. I get a little bit of a discount on the tires, just FYI, but I don't have an affiliate link or any of those things that others do or whatever. This is just, I put them on my channel, tell that, that I use them and that I get supported by a little bit of a discount on these tires. So, but I was riding MotoZ before any of that ever happened. So just a little disclaimer. So as you probably saw the thumbnail, just talking about tires and kind of my experience with some of these tires. And so let me kind of walk through here, because although I have MotoZ and I do, have a little bit of a partnership with MotoZ, I also have some other tires here. And the reason why I'm going to show these is just show the progression and also show the fact that why MotoZ, in my opinion, is a great choice for your bike and long-term riding. So let me start off here, because it really goes from street over here all the way to the most extreme that MotoZ has, and kind of give you guys a little bit of an idea. Now granted, this doesn't cover all tires. If you want that, go see my friend Kyle Bradshaw. I'll obviously leave a link and stuff like that, but Kyle's fantastic. If you know Kyle, he's the tire guy of ADV World. So if you want some in-depth reviews of those tires, definitely go do it. This is just my, take, especially since I've ridden a lot of miles on these tires. So first and foremost, I'm going to start with the street ones over here. So these are the Anakee Adventures. Now, if you have a BMW, chances are this is what tire comes on your BMW. It's an Anakee Adventure. I would say it's an 80-20 tire. It's mostly a street tire. Not bad, but super loud, at least in my opinion. When I started off on cap, that's what I used because I didn't know any better. I think I got 4,000 or 5,000 miles out of them, and I go through tires, so I'll probably change tires at least 1,000 to 1,500 miles before they're ever truly bad. I've seen some people run around on some bald stuff as well, but usually within 1,000 miles to 1,500 miles left on a tire, I change them. But so I tried a second set of these when I went out to my first major trip. I went all the way out to Wyoming and did a bunch of riding out that way. And I have to say that these things are loud. Not my favorite tire. I never bought another set of these. Now, the reason why I have these is because they came off my 23 GS that I bought over a year ago. And I have them as a backup. So if I ever decide to ride from here to California or something like that, and I know I'm just chewing up a bunch of highway miles, I'm going to throw those on there, burn them up, and get rid of them when I get out to the West Coast or whatever. So very loud tire. I would not recommend them. That's just my personal opinion. And again, I've said this before, opinions are like, what, everybody has one. But I just don't find that tire is a great tire. It's just very loud. Riding wise, it was fine. It's just loud, at least to me. The next one is, this is a Scorpion, Pirelli Scorpion. Now this came off of my Touareg. And when I had my first Touareg, I left those on there. I didn't switch to a MotoZ. And again, because I only had that the first time I bought the Touareg 2 years ago, I only had it for about 1,000 miles. These were actually pretty decent. I would say, they say they're a 50-50. I would say they're more of a 60-40 street to off-road, 60-40. They got a pretty decent groove. I'll get close-ups of these to show. It's got a pretty decent groove, kicks it out pretty good. I would say these are best probably in the gravel environment. anything more than some light sand or light mud, you're going to be caking them up and slip sliding all over the place on these Scorpion Pirellis. But they're really nice on road. There was no real loud noises from the 1,000 miles that I rode on them. And even the first mileage that I put on the bike before I put the new tires on there, again, I thought these were a pretty solid tire for this Scorpion Pirelli. So now this one is a TKC 80 rock, TK70 rocks. Let me correct myself. So this is a TK70 rocks. And again, now, full disclosure, I haven't run this tire yet. Now, I got this I was in a silent auction type thing with the BDR, and I bid on them, and because I really wanted to try maybe to see what is out there, right? And more of a 50-50. Again, this is what I consider probably more of a 60-40. I don't even know. It could be a 50-50 in the rear. Again, check with Kyle on the full details. I'm going to probably run this one at some stage this summer. This is going to be for more of a long haul. But, you know, I've heard good things about it. I think Kyle said they get maybe 5,000-6,000 miles out of this tire. Anyways, if you want to, check out Kyle on that one. So I would kind of possibly put them in the realm of the Scorpion Pirelli. And then really, let's get to into this thing. So here's the MotoZ. Now, here we have the GPS, the Tractionator GPS. This tire, I actually did a review. Again, I'll leave it in the link at the end. But my buddy John Salter sat down and talked to us about this tire. I think he put him on his Africa Twin. Did, I think, close to 12,000 miles on these. Absolutely fantastic tire. What's nice about this is you can actually flip this tire and get a little bit better tread for off-road if you wanted to. So that's kind of nice on this rear tire. And you can balance it out if you flip-flop them every now and then just to get more wear and tear out of them. But this tire, and I'm right, and you can see the grooves compared to these others. So you're gonna, like, eating up miles, all that stuff on the highway. You still want to go off-road. You still got some good grooves here. And again, I'll get pictures of all this stuff in here, but you guys will be able to see that. Now, moving on up, this is kind of what I started in the MotoZ world with a few years back, and this is the Tractionator Adventure. Now, you got a little bit deeper grooves. It's not solid, as you guys can see here. It's not solid like the GPS. So it's got a little bit deeper grooves, a little bit, you know, wider blocks. Fantastic tire. I can tell you, this is more like a 70-30, 70 off-road, 30 on the highway. I get probably 6,000 to 7,000 miles on this set. So that's actually pretty good considering you'll get a lot better tread more. You can get into mud, sand, which I have on these tires, and you're going to get a lot more out of that than even these TKC 80 rocks. You'll just get about as many miles out of it as that. So great tire. This is actually what I've switched to permanently on cap here on my GSA, and I run the Adventure. And we're going to talk about front tires as well. So, but I run the Adventure. Now, if I do off-road, like I'm getting heavier off-road riding, and I know I'm going to do that. So these are the rowels. Now, when you get in here, you'll see the blocks separate a little bit more. You got bigger gaps, more of a, you know, wheel, a paddle, and phenomenal. Now, I put these on my GS because my GS mostly is my off-road bike. And so, and I also have a set of these on my Touareg, my 660, the rowels. So when I'm off-road, I love the rowels. They're fantastic. Now, I usually only get about 4,000 miles, close to 4,000 miles, 3,500 to 4,000 miles. Now, again, that's if I'm riding some road, and then obviously doing, you know, doing the off-road stuff like that, and they get beat up. As you saw, and I'll show that the front tires here in a little bit, I was at Rockfest out in Oklahoma back in November, and my front tire got cut up by a rock, but which has been odd because I've gone through so many tires that That's the first time I've had a sidewall get slashed like that on rock. But anyhow, so these are the RALs. Now on this last one, these are the Desert HTs. Now you can really see, you know, the blocks are separated here, a little bit different tread pattern. They're deep, and this one tears up the sand, everything like that. I mean, it really gets after it. Much more aggressive tighter. This is more like a 90-10. RALs is a 80-20. Now, I bought this set to go on my Touareg after I get done with the RALs, because again, the Touareg is going to be more of an off-road bike. I did have my incident on the RALs, and you know, we've talked about the front tire, and we're going to talk about those, but this rear tire has been solid. So again, when you're talking MotoZ, you really have 4 tires here that you can get anywhere from 10 to 12,000, maybe 6 to 8,000, depending on how heavy your loads are and stuff like this. And this is all. These are all 17, especially for GSs. Again, you can get them in 18s as well. And then the RALs, more off-road, and then a Desert HTs for the extreme off-road, especially if you're doing a lot of sand. Highly recommend this tire. So, but again, 10 to 12, 6 to 8. You're going to get 3 to 5, depending on the load and how you ride. And then these are probably going to be around 3,000 because you're going to burn these up as knobbies or whatever. So maybe 3 to 4 on these. So compared to some of these, right? Because again, can get some mileage, but if you're going to ride anything off-road, you're going to do anything a little bit more than just on the highway, and you want to get off on some gravel and still want to be comfortable on a tire that you think you're going to have some confidence in. Again, I highly recommend the MotoZ. Stiff carcass, you know, they're not bad. I put them on with a Rabaconda. It's the one thing that I do is I have started doing my own tires, and I use the Rabaconda. They're not the Trail Max Missions are kind of rough, and I don't have a pair of those. I would tell you that out of all these, probably tires down here, I would do the Trail Max Missions probably over any of these down here. Just because you'll get 10, 12, 14,000 or more miles on Trail Max Missions. Those are a fantastic tire. It's just that I do a little bit more off-road, obviously, and they're great again for gravel, light sand, and I'm talking light mud. Anything more, it's kind of like these, they cake up and you're all over the place. But these, you'll actually can perform pretty well on these. These are MotoZ. And I would put these up against any of these all day long. Now, granted, I don't have TKC 80s here. Everybody talks about those, but from what I understand, those burn up pretty quick, maybe 3,000 to 5,000 miles, somewhere in that neighborhood. You know, I'm not a street guy, so, you know, people have talked about Mutants and other Dunlops and other Continental, the Wilds. I had those on the Africa Twin when I was doing the Wyoming BDR a few years back. Personally didn't like them. I thought they were loud, just as bad as the other Anakees there, the Anakee Wilds, and just didn't particularly care for those. So I've had obviously a bunch of different tires, and just kind of giving you guys my personal experience on some of these. And that's it on the rears. Let's get to the fronts. And again, I'll show you the patterns on these and go from there. All right, give me 2 seconds. Hey everybody, I want to take a quick minute here to say thank you to my partners and really helping me out in this journey that I've been on for the last 4 years. They've been friends of this channel, they've been supporters, and have really helped me in this journey. And I just wanted to take a quick second to say thank you and really appreciate the support. So anyways, back to the video. All right, we're back here now. Front tires. These are the front tires that kind of match up, pair up with them. So again, you got the Anakee Adventure. Again, I said loud, whatever. They're an okay tire. I mean, nothing wrong. This is the Scorpion, the Pirelli Scorpion for the front tire off of my Touareg. And this is a TK70 Rocks tire. Now, what I will say is if you watch Kyle's video on this tire, the front tire kind of washes a little bit. It's not as aggressive, I think, as the rear. And you guys can see that. I will zoom in there or whatever, but you can see it doesn't have kind of a spread out pattern. And these these grooves are kind of shallow versus these. So now let's get on to this. So we've got the GPS tractionator. This is the dual venture. This is the RALs, and then obviously you got the Desert HT, and you can see all the grooves here. And again, I'll take a picture of all these things. Now, on the GPS, great tire. Like I said, John, who again, while I'll tag in that video, talked about this tire. So on this front tire, again, you're going to get 10,000 plus miles out of this thing. Even John said he probably could have got maybe 3,000 or 4,000 more miles out of this front tire. The grooves are not as wide, so I think if you were to go off-road with this one, you get into anything that's, you know, medium to heavy on sand or mud, you probably will cake up and have some issues there. But gravel, rock, everything else, you're going to be fine on this. Now, this dual venture has become my favorite just because versus the RALs. The RALs can get squirrely on you. The front tires can. When you're above, to me, at least on my bikes, anytime I've gotten above 78, 80 miles an hour, it just gets a little wonky sometimes, especially that first 300 to 500 miles of breaking the tire in. For whatever reason, it just seems a little wonky. But I've moved to the dual venture because I think it's got a little bit more of a center tread pattern, but it's still wide enough and blocky enough to where you ride off-road and have no issues. And I've actually gone to this combination of, especially for my GS, on my GSA, I do the adventure in the rear and the dual venture, and I get, again, that 7,000 plus miles out of that set. Now, the RALs, if I know that I'm going to be strictly just really riding off-road, trailing someplace like I do with my GS or my Touareg for the most part, I will put the RALs on there and I'll run that combination for off-road. And then obviously the Desert HTs, I've got the other tire. I will be, at some stage, once the tires wear out on the Touareg, I'll be putting the HTs on there, a little bit more aggressive for the off-road. I just find that the MotoZ, for what you're getting, tread pattern, depth, longevity, and just sturdiness of this tire, I think it's fantastic. Now, I know there will be people out there that might think that these are not great. There's other better tires. I get it. Tires are the craziest thing sometimes to talk about in our world, right? Between bikes and what's the unicorn tire, the unicorn boot, the unicorn gear, like everybody has an opinion. I get it, guys. I get it, gang. So, but this is my experience with some of these tires. Majority all of them, except for the TKC 70 Rocks, which I will get some experience on them. But again, my buddy Kyle Bradshaw has a full review on these, and I'll leave in the descriptions. I'll leave a link for that. But yeah, these other tires I've ridden, and they're like I said, these are more street tires. These are, you know, from street to you know, more off road, but they can handle a lot. So that's it. That's all I got on the tires. I thought I would share this with you. I got my shipment in for the summer. Please leave your comments. I love to, you know, see what's out there. But I'm just a big MotoZ fan because I've been so much off-road, doing so much different type of style of riding that I've always had great success with these tires. And the old knock on wood type of thing. If there's some wood around here, I would maybe in my head. But yeah, so all right, gang. Thanks a lot for watching. Hit that like, subscribe, notification button. I greatly appreciate it. It's been, like I said, it's been a crazy winter. I'm hoping to get outside and get some riding in. It's just getting miserable to be inside. You guys are getting tired of seeing my 75-year-old garage as well. So you and me both. So my bikes want to get outside like I do. So all right, gang, have a good one. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.